Florida isn't just sunshine and oranges. Let's uncover some hidden gems about the Sunshine State. First off, Florida is home to the only place in the world where alligators and crocodiles coexist, the Everglades. And speaking of wildlife, did you know it's illegal to tie an alligator to a fire hydrant in Florida? Now let's talk space. Cape Canaveral is where the first manned moon mission launched. Yeah, Florida is out of this world. Here's a snackable fact. The largest collection of Frank Lloyd Wright buildings is found at Florida Southern College in Lakeland. Bet you didn't see that coming. And if you think Florida's just hot weather, think again. The state's panhandle once saw snow in 1977. Yep, snow in Florida. Finally, Florida produces the most oranges in the US. No wonder it's called the Sunshine State. So next time you think of Florida, remember, it's packed with surprises around every corner. Like and subscribe for more fun facts. Georgia has a secret wine tradition. Stick around for more surprising facts about this amazing state. Georgia's the peach state, but did you know it produces more blueberries than peaches? And speaking of fruits, Georgia's Vidalia onions are world famous for their sweetness. Ever heard of the city of Savannah? It's home to the largest National Historic Landmark district in the US, and if you love nature, you'll be amazed that Georgia has over 50 state parks. Oh, and let's not forget about Coca-Cola. It was invented in Atlanta in 1886. Plus, if you're a movie buff, you'll love that Georgia is a major filming hotspot for Hollywood. From the Appalachian Mountains to the stunning coastline, Georgia's got it all. So what are you waiting for? Get out there and explore Georgia today.
Y'all, think you know all about South Carolina? Think again. First up, did you know South Carolina's home to the world's largest ginkgo farm? That's right, these ancient trees are growing like hotcakes here. And get this, in Charleston there's a pineapple fountain. Yep, you heard that right. Pineapples symbolize hospitality down here. Now talk about quirky. South Carolina's official state snack is boiled peanuts. Trust me, they're better than they sound. Ever heard of the lizard man? Legend has it, this scaly fella roams the swamps near Bishopville. Keep your eyes peeled. And lastly, Myrtle Beach hosts the world's largest floating water park. Perfect spot to cool off in the summer heat. So there you have it, folks. South Carolina's got more surprises than you can shake a stick at. Thanks for watching. And y'all come back now, you hear?
Ready to uncover the hidden gems of Alabama? Let's dive in and get surprised. First off, did you know Alabama's got a rocket for you? Yeah, the U.S. Space and Rocket Center in Huntsville is home to the largest space museum in the world. Mind-blowing, right? And get this, Alabama was the first state to declare Christmas a legal holiday. So if you love Christmas, thank Alabama. Oh, and if you're into nature, Alabama's got you covered. The state's home to the most navigable rivers in the U.S., perfect for all you kayaking enthusiasts out there. Lastly, ever heard of the Boll Weevil Monument? It's a statue dedicated to a bug that changed the state's agricultural history. Weird but true. So, next time you think Alabama, think again. It's more than meets the eye. Stay curious, y'all. Did you know that the first ever human lung transplant happened in Mississippi? Yup, in 1963. And get this, the state has more churches per capita than any other state. Holy moly, Mississippi is also home to the world's largest cactus plantation. Who knew, right? And if you love literature, you'll love this. The state boasts the world's largest collection of William Faulkner manuscripts. Talk about literary gold. Last but not least, it's the birthplace of America's music, the blues. So, next time you hear a soulful tune, think Mississippi. Who knew this state had so many surprises? I will never look at Tennessee the same after learning this. Trust me, you'll be amazed. Tennessee isn't just famous for Nashville's country tunes. Ever heard of the Lost Sea? It's the largest underground lake in the US. And guess what? You can take a boat tour through it. Here's another zinger. Tennessee has more than 10,000 caves. Talk about a spelunker's paradise. Oh, and let's not forget Dollywood, a theme park owned by the one and only Dolly Parton. It's got roller coasters and a water park. Yeehaw, right? And if you're a whiskey lover, you're in luck. Tennessee whiskey is world famous with Jack Daniels leading the pack. So next time you think of Tennessee, remember, it's full of surprises. Pack your bags and see for yourself. He's got some surprises for you. Did you know Kentucky has the world's longest cave system? Mammoth Cave is over 400 miles long, and that's not all. Ever heard of the moonbow? It's a rainbow at night and you can only see it at Cumberland Falls. Love fried chicken? Thank Kentucky for KFC. But here's a twist. The state's official drink is bourbon. Visiting the Bourbon Trail is like a rite of passage. And let's not forget the Kentucky Derby. It's the oldest continuous horse race in the US. So next time you think Kentucky's just bluegrass and horses, remember it's a state full of surprises. You probably know North Carolina for its beautiful beaches and the Blue Ridge Mountains. But did you know it's the birthplace of Pepsi? That's right, Pepsi was invented in New Bern back in 1898. Speaking of inventions, the Wright brothers took their first flight in Kitty Hawk. So, you could say North Carolina is where modern aviation was born. Love cheese? The Biltmore Estate in Asheville has its own dairy farm producing award-winning cheeses. And get this, Mount Mitchell is the highest peak east of the Mississippi River. So next time you plan a trip, don't overlook North Carolina. It's got history, innovation, and some seriously delicious cheese. Happy travels.
Virginia is a treasure trove of history and surprises. Did you know it's home to the first permanent English settlement in America? Jamestown was established in 1607, paving the way for the future of the United States. But that's just the beginning. Virginia is also the birthplace of 8 U.S. presidents, including George Washington and Thomas Jefferson. And here's something you might not expect: Virginia has more Civil War battlefields preserved than any other state. You can walk the same grounds where history was made. Plus, the state is famous for its wine. There are over 300 wineries, making it the 5th largest wine producer in the country. Lastly, let's not forget about the natural beauty. The Blue Ridge Parkway, known as America's favorite drive, offers breathtaking views and is a haven for outdoor enthusiasts. Virginia is a blend of rich history, stunning landscapes, and vibrant culture that keeps revealing its secrets. Did you know that Arkansas is home to the only active diamond mine in the United States? Crater of Diamonds State Park lets you dig for real diamonds, and visitors have found some impressive gems. Speaking of unique, Arkansas is also known for its stunning natural hot springs. Hot Springs National Park has been a favorite for relaxation since the 1800s, attracting visitors seeking wellness. And let's not forget about the Ozark Mountains, where you can find some of the best hiking trails and breathtaking views in the country. Plus, Arkansas is the birthplace of Bill Clinton, adding a touch of presidential history to its charm. With its rich culture, beautiful landscapes, and quirky attractions, Arkansas is a hidden gem waiting to be explored. West Virginia is beautiful. Did you know it's home to the world's largest sycamore tree? This giant stands over 100 feet tall and is a true natural wonder. And speaking of wonders, the New River Gorge is not just a stunning sight, it's also one of the best whitewater rafting spots in the country. If you're into adventure, you'll love the thrill of navigating its rapids. Now, let's talk about the state's rich history. West Virginia was born out of the Civil War, making it the only state to form by separating from a Confederate state. And if you're a fan of folklore, the Mothman legend originated in Point Pleasant, where sightings of this mysterious creature have sparked curiosity for decades. Lastly, don't forget about the delicious pepperoni rolls. This local snack was created by Italian miners and has become a beloved staple. So next time you think of West Virginia, remember it's not just mountains and coal, it's a treasure trove of unique stories and flavors waiting to be explored. Did you know Texas is home to the largest bat colony in the world? Every summer, over 15 million Mexican free-tailed bats emerge from under the Congress Avenue Bridge in Austin, creating a spectacular sight. And speaking of size, Texas is so big that it could fit the entire United Kingdom within its borders. Now, let's talk about food. Texas is famous for its barbecue, but did you know that chili is the official state dish? No beans allowed. And if you're a fan of music, Texas has produced legendary artists like Beyoncé, Willie Nelson, and Buddy Holly, making it a true hub for diverse musical talent. Finally, Texas has its own power grid, separate from the rest of the U.S. This means that during extreme weather events, Texans often face unique challenges. So, whether it's the bats, the barbecue, or the music, Texas is full of surprises that keep it larger than life. Maryland is a treasure trove of surprises. Did you know it's home to the oldest continuously running ferry service in the U.S.? The Chesapeake Bay Ferry has been shuttling folks since 1637. And speaking of the bay, it's also where you'll find the largest population of blue crabs in the world. If you're a seafood lover, you've got to try Maryland crab cakes, they're a culinary icon. But it's not just about food. Maryland is the birthplace of the national anthem. Francis Scott Key penned the Star-Spangled Banner right here during the War of 1812. And let's not forget about the unique geography. Maryland has the distinction of having the highest point in the U.S. east of the Mississippi River, at Hagerstown's Backbone Mountain. With its rich history, diverse culture, and stunning landscapes, Maryland is a state that keeps on giving. Did you know Delaware is the first state to ratify the U.S. Constitution? That's right. On December 7, 1787, Delaware became the first state, a title it proudly holds. But there's more. Delaware is home to the only city in the US that's entirely surrounded by water, called the City of Newcastle. And if you're a fan of tax-free shopping, you'll love Delaware. It has no sales tax, making it a shopper's paradise. Plus, the state boasts the world's largest collection of the original 13 colonies' historical documents, all housed in the Delaware Public Archives. And let's not forget about the famous Delaware blue hen, the state bird, which is a symbol of pride and resilience. So, next time you think of Delaware, remember it's not just a small state, it's packed with history and unique quirks. Maine is full of surprises. Did you know it's home to the only national park in New England? Acadia National Park boasts stunning coastal views and over 120 miles of hiking trails. And speaking of unique, Maine produces 90% of the nation's lobster. That's right, those delicious crustaceans are a big deal here. But here's a fun twist: Maine is also known for its wild blueberries, which are so abundant that they even have a festival dedicated to them. And if you're a fan of quirky landmarks, don't miss the Portland Headlight, one of the most photographed lighthouses in America. Finally, let's not forget that Maine is the birthplace of the famous author Stephen King, who drew inspiration from its eerie landscapes. So, whether you're exploring nature, savoring seafood, or diving into literature, Maine has a little something for everyone. Did you know that Vermont is home to the first ever Ben & Jerry's ice cream shop? Founded in 1978, this little scoop shop in Burlington has grown into a global phenomenon. And speaking of unique, Vermont is the only state in the US without a McDonald's. Instead, you'll find charming local diners serving up delicious maple syrup, which, by the way, Vermont produces more than any other state, over 2 million gallons a year. Also, Vermont is known for its stunning fall foliage, attracting leaf peepers from all over. But here's a fun fact: the state has more cows than people. With a population of just over 600,000, those cows are crucial for the dairy industry, making Vermont famous for its cheese and ice cream. And if you're a fan of the outdoors, you'll love that Vermont has the most breweries per capita in the US, perfect for unwinding after a day of hiking in the Green Mountains. Massachusetts is a treasure trove of surprises. Did you know it's home to the first public park in the US? Boston Common, established in 1634, has been a gathering place for over 380 years. And speaking of history, the first American lighthouse was built in the Boston Harbor in 1716. It's called the Boston Light, and it's still operational today. Now, let's talk about education. Massachusetts boasts the highest percentage of residents with college degrees in the nation, thanks to prestigious institutions like Harvard and MIT. But it's not all about the books. The state is also the birthplace of the chocolate chip cookie. Ruth Wakefield created this sweet treat in the 1930s at the Toll House Inn. And if you're a sports fan, you'll appreciate that Massachusetts is home to the oldest professional baseball team, the Boston Red Sox, who've been playing at Fenway Park since 1912. So, whether you're exploring its rich history or indulging in its culinary delights, Massachusetts is full of fascinating facts waiting to be discovered. Did you know Rhode Island is the smallest state in the US, covering just about 1,214 square miles? Despite its size, it boasts an impressive 400 miles of coastline. That's more than California. It's also home to the first ever circus in America, which debuted in 1774. And speaking of firsts, Rhode Island was the first state to declare independence from British rule in 1776, a bold move that paved the way for the rest of the nation. The state is famous for its delicious clam chowder, but it's also known for its unique coffee milk, a sweet treat that's a local favorite. And let's not forget about the stunning beaches. Narragansett and Block Island are must-visit spots for sun and surf. Rhode Island may be small, but it's packed with history, culture, and charm that makes it truly one of a kind. Did you know it's home to the first ever hamburger? That's right. Louis Lasson served it up in 1900 at Louis's Lunch in New Haven. Speaking of New Haven, it's also famous for its pizza, often called a pizza, which is a must-try for any foodie. Connecticut is also the birthplace of the Frisbee. It all started when college students threw around pie tins from the Frisbee Pie Company. And if you're a fan of the arts, you'll appreciate that the first American dictionary was published right here by Noah Webster in 1828. Finally, let's not forget that Connecticut has more than 100 miles of coastline along Long Island Sound, making it a perfect spot for beach lovers. So, whether you're indulging in a slice of pizza or enjoying a day at the beach, Connecticut has something special for everyone. Did you know that New Hampshire is the only state in the US that doesn't have a sales tax? That's right. Shopping here means you can save a few bucks on those big-ticket items. And speaking of unique, New Hampshire is home to the first primary in the presidential election cycle. It's a big deal, drawing candidates and media from all over the country. Now, let's talk about the state's motto, Live Free or Die. It reflects the fierce independence of its residents. Plus, New Hampshire boasts the highest peak in the northeastern U.S., Mount Washington, which is notorious for having some of the worst weather on the planet. And if you're a fan of the outdoors, you'll love that New Hampshire has over 1,300 lakes and ponds, perfect for swimming, fishing, or just soaking up the sun. Finally, don't forget about the delicious maple syrup. New Hampshire ranks among the top producers in the country. So, whether you're exploring the mountains or enjoying a sweet treat, there's always something fun to discover in the Granite State. Did you know New Jersey is home to the first ever boardwalk? Built in 1870 in Atlantic City, it set the stage for seaside fun. Speaking of firsts, New Jersey also boasts the first drive-in movie theater, which opened in Camden in 1933. And let's not forget about the famous Taylor ham, or pork roll, a breakfast staple that sparks passionate debates among locals. New Jersey is also the birthplace of several iconic figures, including Frank Sinatra and Bruce Springsteen. Plus, we have more diners per capita than anywhere else in the US, making late-night eats a beloved tradition. With its rich history and vibrant culture, New Jersey truly packs a punch. Did you know that New York City is home to over 8.4 million people, making it the most populous city in the United States? That's more than the entire population of some countries. And speaking of numbers, the subway system here is one of the largest in the world, with 472 stations and over 665 miles of track. Here's a fun twist: the iconic yellow taxicabs were actually inspired by a car model called the Ford Model T. And if you're a fan of pizza, you might be interested to know that New Yorkers consume around 23 pounds of pizza per person each year. Oh, and let's not forget about Central Park. It's larger than the Principality of Monaco. With 843 acres, it's a massive green oasis right in the heart of the city. Lastly, the Statue of Liberty was a gift from France and was originally intended to be a lighthouse. Just imagine that. New York is truly a city full of surprises. Did you know it's home to the Liberty Bell, a symbol of American independence? Just a short drive away, you can explore Gettysburg, where one of the most pivotal battles of the Civil War took place. The state is also famous for its diverse landscapes, from the rolling hills of the Appalachians to the stunning shores of Lake Erie. And let's not forget about the food. Pennsylvania is the birthplace of the cheesesteak. There's nothing quite like a fresh one from Philly. The Philadelphia Zoo opened in 1874 and was the first public zoo in the country. Plus, the vibrant arts scene in cities like Pittsburgh and Harrisburg showcases everything from theater to murals. Also, the American oil industry began in Titusville, Pennsylvania. Whether you're hiking in the Pocono Mountains or enjoying a festival in a small town, Pennsylvania is a blend of rich history and modern charm that truly captivates. Did you know that Ohio is home to the world's largest rubber band ball? That's right. It weighs over 4,000 pounds and is a testament to the quirky spirit of this state. Speaking of unique, Ohio is also where the first airplane was invented by the Wright brothers in 1903. And if you're a fan of roller coasters, Cedar Point in Sandusky boasts the most coasters in the world, with 17 thrilling rides. Ohio is also known for its rich history in the arts. It produced famous figures like Paul Newman and Toni Morrison. And let's not forget about the iconic Buckeye candy, a delicious chocolate and peanut butter treat that's a must-try. So whether you're exploring its vibrant cities or enjoying its natural beauty, Ohio is full of surprises waiting to be discovered. Did you know that Indiana is home to the world's largest ball of paint? This quirky attraction started as a simple baseball and has grown to over 25,000 layers of paint. Speaking of unique, Indiana is also the birthplace of the legendary actor John Dillinger, a notorious bank robber from the Great Depression era. And let's not forget about the Indianapolis 500, the largest single-day sporting event in the world, drawing over 300,000 fans each year. Plus, Indiana is known for its rich agricultural heritage, producing more popcorn than any other state. So next time you enjoy a movie night, remember that your popcorn might just hail from the Hoosier State. Did you know Michigan has more coastline than any other state in the US, except for Alaska? That's right! With over 3,200 miles of shoreline, you can find some of the most beautiful beaches and stunning views. And speaking of stunning, Michigan is home to the world's largest limestone quarry, located in Rogers City. It's a massive operation that produces millions of tons of limestone each year. Now, let's talk about the Great Lakes. Michigan is the only state that touches 4 of them. Lake Michigan, Lake Huron, Lake Erie, and Lake Superior all cradle this state. And if you're a fan of cherries, Michigan is the nation's leading producer, especially famous for its tart cherries. Lastly, ever heard of the Mackinac Bridge? It's one of the longest suspension bridges in the Western Hemisphere, connecting Michigan's upper and lower peninsulas. It's a marvel of engineering and offers breathtaking views. Michigan is truly a hidden gem with so much to discover. Did you know that Illinois is home to the world's first skyscraper? The Home Insurance Building in Chicago, built in 1885, was a game-changer for architecture. And speaking of Chicago, it's also where the deep dish pizza was born, an iconic dish that's a must-try for any food lover. But there's more. Illinois is the birthplace of several U.S. presidents, including Abraham Lincoln, who spent most of his adult life here. His legacy is celebrated at the Lincoln Home National Historic Site in Springfield. And let's not forget about the Route 66. This legendary highway starts in Chicago and stretches all the way to Santa Monica, California, making it a favorite for road trippers. Lastly, Illinois has a unique tradition called the Great Pumpkin Parade in the town of Morton, known as the pumpkin capital of the world. It's a celebration of all things pumpkin, attracting visitors from all over. So, next time you think of Illinois, remember it's more than just cornfields in Chicago. Did you know Missouri is home to the world's first botanical garden? Things you didn't know about the states, Part 28, Missouri. The Missouri Botanical Garden in St. Louis, established in 1859, is a stunning 79-acre oasis that showcases over 6,800 plant species. And speaking of St. Louis, it's also where you'll find the iconic Gateway Arch, standing at 630 feet tall, making it the tallest monument in the United States. But that's not all. Missouri is known as the Show Me State, a nickname that reflects its residents' skepticism and pride in their ability to get things done. Plus, it's the birthplace of several famous figures, including Mark Twain and Walt Disney. And let's not forget about the Ozarks, a breathtaking region filled with rolling hills, lakes, and outdoor adventures. Missouri also boasts the largest cave system in the U.S., the Mark Twain Cave, where you can explore stunning formations and learn about its rich history. Oklahoma is full of surprises. Things you didn't know about the states, Part 29, Oklahoma. Did you know it has the largest population of Native Americans in the U.S.? With 39 tribes, their rich cultures and histories are woven into the fabric of the state. And speaking of unique, Oklahoma is home to the only active oil well in a major city right in downtown Tulsa. But it's not just about oil and culture. Oklahoma boasts the world's largest collection of Route 66 memorabilia. You can explore quirky roadside attractions that tell the story of America's iconic highway. And if you're a fan of the outdoors, the state has more man-made lakes than any other state, over 200. That's a lot of fishing and boating opportunities. Plus, Oklahoma is known for its incredible tornado activity, earning it the nickname Tornado Alley. But don't worry, the state has some of the best storm chasers in the world. So, whether you're into history, nature, or a bit of adventure, Oklahoma has something that will surprise you. Things you didn't know about the state's Part 30, Wisconsin. Did you know that Wisconsin is home to the world's largest cheese factory? Located in the small town of Monroe, the Chalet Cheese Cooperative produces over 1.5 million pounds of cheese each year. And speaking of cheese, Wisconsin is known as the dairy state for a reason. It produces more cheese than any other state in the US, including the famous cheddar. But it's not just about dairy. Wisconsin has over 15,000 lakes, making it a paradise for fishing and boating enthusiasts. The state is also rich in history. It was the birthplace of the Republican Party in 1854. And let's not forget about the iconic Wisconsin Dells, often referred to as the water park capital of the world, attracting millions of visitors each year with its stunning natural beauty and thrilling water attractions. So next time you think of Wisconsin, remember it's not just cheese and cows, it's a treasure trove of surprises. Minnesota is home to the largest mall in America, the Mall of America, which has over 500 stores and even an indoor amusement park. But did you know it also has a hidden underground tunnel system? Minneapolis boasts a network of skyways that connect buildings, allowing people to navigate the city without stepping outside, especially during those brutal winters. Speaking of winters, Minnesota is known for its ice fishing, but it's also the birthplace of the famous Juicy Lucy burger, a cheese-stuffed delight that's a must-try. And let's not forget the state flower, the pink and white lady slipper, which is so rare that it's protected by law. Minnesota is also the land of 10,000 lakes, but it actually has over 11,000. Each summer, the state hosts the Great Minnesota Get-Together, the state fair, where you can taste everything from deep-fried candy bars to cheese curds. It's a unique blend of nature, culture, and culinary adventures that truly makes Minnesota special. Did you know Iowa is home to the largest corn maze in the world? Every fall, the Great Iowa Corn Maze attracts thousands of visitors who get lost in over 10 miles of winding paths. And speaking of corn, Iowa produces more corn than any other state, about 20% of the entire US supply. But it's not just corn, Iowa is also the birthplace of the famous ice cream cone. It was invented at the 1884 World's Fair in Des Moines. Plus, Iowa has a rich literary history. It's home to the Iowa Writers' Workshop, which has produced Pulitzer Prize winners and celebrated authors like Flannery O'Connor. And let's not forget about the quirky side. Every year, the town of Pella hosts a Tulip Time Festival, celebrating its Dutch heritage with vibrant flowers, traditional costumes, and parades. Iowa may seem like a quiet state, but it's bursting with fascinating stories and hidden gems waiting to be discovered. Kansas is often seen as just a flat expanse of wheat fields, but there's so much more to discover. Things you didn't know about the states, Part 33, Kansas. Did you know that Kansas is home to the world's largest ball of twine? It weighs over 19,000 pounds and is a quirky roadside attraction that draws visitors from all over. Also, the state has a rich history in aviation. Wichita is known as the air capital of the world, producing more than half of the general aviation aircraft in the US. And here's a fun fact, Kansas is the only state that has a town named Syracuse and a city named Topeka, both of which have their own unique charm. Lastly, if you're a fan of the arts, you'll find that Kansas has a vibrant community of muralists, with over 200 murals scattered across the state, each telling its own story. So next time you think of Kansas, remember it's not just flat land, it's a treasure trove of surprises. Things you didn't know about the states, Part 34, North Dakota. Did you know it's home to the largest buffalo herd in the US? The Theodore Roosevelt National Park is a must-visit for wildlife lovers. Speaking of unique, the state has more than just prairies, it boasts the stunning Badlands, where you can find some of the most breathtaking landscapes. And here's a fun fact, North Dakota has the highest percentage of people who claim to be of German descent in the entire country. Plus, it's the only state with a state fruit, yes, the chokecherry. And if you're a fan of quirky attractions, you can't miss the world's largest buffalo monument in Jamestown. North Dakota may be small, but it's packed with fascinating history and culture waiting to be explored. Things you didn't know about the states, Part 35, South Dakota. Did you know South Dakota is home to the world's only corn palace? This unique building in Mitchell is entirely decorated with corn and other grains, and it hosts an annual festival celebrating all things corn. Speaking of unique, the state is also where you'll find the famous Mount Rushmore, but fewer people know that it was originally intended to feature the full bodies of the presidents. And here's a fun fact, South Dakota has the largest mammoth fossil site in the world, the Mammoth Site in Hot Springs, where you can see the remains of over 60 mammoths. Plus, the state is a treasure trove of Native American history, with the Lakota Sioux being the largest tribe here. Lastly, if you're a fan of the outdoors, Badlands National Park offers some of the most stunning landscapes in the country, with its dramatic rock formations and rich fossil beds. South Dakota is truly a hidden gem filled with surprises. Things you didn't know about the states, Part 36, Nebraska. Did you know Nebraska is home to the largest indoor rainforest in the U.S.? The Omaha Henry Doorly Zoo features this incredible ecosystem, showcasing over 90 species of plants and animals. And speaking of unique, Nebraska is the only state with a unicameral legislature, meaning we have a single house system that makes our government quite efficient. Now, let's talk about the Sandhills, a stunning region that covers nearly a quarter of the state. It's one of the largest grass-stabilized dune regions in the world, perfect for hiking and wildlife watching. And if you're a fan of the arts, Nebraska hosts the annual Nebraska Book Festival, celebrating local authors and literature. Finally, don't forget about Runza, a beloved local fast food chain serving up delicious stuffed sandwiches. Nebraska is full of surprises, and these are just a few of the things that make it truly special. Did you know that Montana is home to the largest migratory elk herd in the U.S.? Every year, thousands of these majestic animals travel over 100 miles to find food and shelter. And speaking of size, Montana is the fourth largest state, but it has one of the lowest population densities, meaning you can find vast stretches of untouched wilderness. Montana also boasts the stunning Glacier National Park, which features over 700 miles of trails and is often called the crown of the continent. The park is a UNESCO World Heritage Site, and its breathtaking landscapes are a hiker's paradise. Another fun fact, Montana has a rich Native American history, with 7 distinct tribes calling it home. Each tribe has its own unique culture and traditions, contributing to the state's vibrant heritage. And if you're a fan of the night sky, Montana is one of the best places for stargazing. With minimal light pollution, you can see the Milky Way like never before. Wyoming is a treasure trove of surprises. Did you know it's the least populated state in the U.S.? With just over 580,000 residents, you can find wide-open spaces and breathtaking landscapes almost all to yourself. And speaking of landscapes, Yellowstone National Park, the first national park in the world, is right here. It's home to the famous Old Faithful Geyser and an incredible variety of wildlife, including bison and grizzly bears. But here's a fun fact, Wyoming is also the only state with a female governor in its history, Nellie Taylor Ross, who took office in 1925. Plus, it's the birthplace of the rodeo, and every summer, the town of Cheyenne hosts one of the largest rodeos in the country. And if you're into fossils, Wyoming has some of the richest dinosaur fossil beds in the world. So, whether you're an outdoor enthusiast or a history buff, Wyoming has something unique to offer. New Mexico is a hidden gem that often flies under the radar. Did you know it's home to the oldest continuously inhabited community in the U.S.? Acoma Pueblo, also known as Sky City, has been occupied for over 1,000 years, perched high on a mesa. And let's talk about the food. Green and red chili are staples here, but did you know that New Mexico is the only state that can legally grow and sell its own chili? The annual Hatch Chili Festival celebrates this fiery fruit, drawing visitors from all over. Then there's the art scene. Santa Fe is known as the third largest art market in the country, boasting over 250 galleries. And if you're a fan of the cosmos, the Very Large Array, one of the world's most powerful radio telescope arrays, is right here, helping us unlock the mysteries of the universe. New Mexico is also the land of enchantment for a reason. Its stunning landscapes inspired artists like Georgia O'Keeffe. So, whether you're into history, food, art, or science, New Mexico has something extraordinary waiting for you. Did you know that Colorado has more than 300 days of sunshine a year? That's right. It's a paradise for outdoor enthusiasts. But here's something you might not expect. The state is home to the highest paved road in North America, the Mount Evans Scenic Byway, which reaches over 14,000 feet. And if you're a fan of craft beer, Colorado boasts the most breweries per capita in the US, over 400. Now, let's talk about the Great Sand Dunes National Park. It's not just a quirky spot, those dunes are the tallest in North America, towering at 750 feet. And speaking of unique, Colorado is one of the few states where you can find a town named Boulder and a city named Colorado Springs, both with stunning natural beauty. Lastly, ever heard of the 14ers? Colorado has 58 mountain peaks that rise over 14,000 feet, making it a hiker's dream. So, whether you're scaling mountains or sipping local brews. Did you know that Nevada is home to the largest gold-producing mine in North America? The Carlin Trend has been a treasure trove since the 1960s, producing billions in gold. But it's not just about gold. Nevada is also the only state where you can legally marry without a waiting period. That's right, if you're feeling spontaneous, you can tie the knot in just a few hours. And speaking of unique, Nevada has more than just Las Vegas. The state is 85% public land, offering stunning landscapes like the Red Rock Canyon and the majestic Lake Tahoe. Plus, it's the only state with a law that allows you to legally gamble on your phone. So whether you're exploring the wild outdoors or trying your luck at the slots, Utah is home to the only natural rock arch in the world that has its own zipline. That's right, the Rainbow Bridge is not just a stunning sight, it's also an adrenaline junkie's dream. Did you know that Utah has the highest number of national parks in the US per square mile? 5 breathtaking parks: Zion, Bryce Canyon, Arches, Canyonlands, and Capitol Reef, each offering unique landscapes and adventures. And speaking of unique, Utah is the birthplace of the modern-day Olympics, hosting the Winter Games in 2002. Plus, it's one of the few places in the world where you can find the Great Salt Lake, which is so salty that you can float effortlessly. And let's not forget about the incredible diversity of wildlife, including the elusive California condor. Did you know that Arizona is home to the largest ponderosa pine forest in the world? Imagine towering trees stretching as far as the eye can see. And speaking of size, the Grand Canyon isn't just a breathtaking view, it's so vast that it could fit the entire state of Rhode Island inside it. But it's not just nature that's fascinating. Arizona has a rich Native American history, with 22 tribes still calling this state home. The Navajo Nation is the largest, covering over 27,000 square miles. And here's a fun fact: Arizona is one of the few states that doesn't observe daylight saving time. So, while the rest of the country springs forward, Arizonans just keep it steady. Lastly, if you're a fan of the arts, you'll love that Arizona is home to the world's largest collection of Frank Lloyd Wright architecture. His Taliesin West is a stunning masterpiece nestled in the desert. Arizona is full of surprises that go beyond the heat and cacti. Did you know that Idaho is home to the largest single contiguous pine forest in the US? That's right. The vastness of the Payette National Forest is a nature lover's paradise. And speaking of nature, Idaho has more than 3,000 lakes and 100,000 miles of rivers, making it a hidden gem for fishing and boating enthusiasts. Now, let's talk potatoes. While everyone knows Idaho is famous for its spuds, what's fascinating is that the state produces nearly 1/3 of the potatoes in the entire country. But it's not just about potatoes. Idaho is also home to the world's first ski resort, Sun Valley, which opened in 1936 and has hosted countless celebrities over the years. And here's a fun fact: Idaho has a unique law that allows you to legally shoot a Bigfoot if you see one. Though, I wouldn't recommend it. Lastly, the state is known for its incredible dark skies, making it one of the best places in the US for stargazing. So, whether you're hiking, fishing, or just enjoying the night sky, Idaho has something truly special to offer. Oregon is full of surprises. Did you know it's home to the only official state nut? That's right, the hazelnut. Oregon produces nearly 99% of the country's hazelnuts, making it a key player in everything from Nutella to gourmet chocolates. And speaking of unique, Oregon has the deepest lake in the US, Crater Lake. Formed by a collapsed volcano, its stunning blue waters are a sight to behold. But wait, there's more. Oregon is also the birthplace of the famous Nike brand. Phil Knight and his coach Bill Bowerman started selling running shoes out of the back of their car in the 1960s. And if you're a fan of quirky roadside attractions, you'll love the world's largest cheese factory in Tillamook. It's a cheese lover's paradise. Washington is home to the world's largest tree, the Hyperion, a coast redwood that towers over 379 feet tall. Did you know that it's also the birthplace of Starbucks? The first store opened in Seattle's Pike Place Market in 1971, forever changing coffee culture. Speaking of Seattle, it's the only city in the US with a floating bridge, the SR 520, which connects the city to the east side. And let's not forget about the state's incredible natural beauty. It boasts over 3,000 lakes and the stunning Mount Rainier, which is an active volcano. Plus, Washington is the top producer of apples in the country, with over 300 varieties grown here. And while we often think of California as a sunny paradise, it actually has a diverse climate. You can find snow-capped mountains in the Sierra Nevada and deserts like Death Valley, which is the hottest place on Earth. Then there's the fact that California produces over 90% of the wine in the United States. Napa Valley is famous, but there are hidden gems across the state, like Paso Robles and Santa Barbara. Speaking of hidden gems, California is also home to the oldest living trees, the bristlecone pines, some of which are over 4,800 years old. And let's not forget the quirky side. California has a town called Dunsmuir that holds an annual Bigfoot festival. It's a celebration of the legendary creature that many claim to have spotted in the nearby forests. So, whether you're exploring its natural wonders or its unique culture, California is full of surprises waiting to be discovered. Did you know that Hawaii is home to the world's most active volcano? Kilauea has been erupting continuously since 1983, shaping the landscape and creating new land. And speaking of unique landscapes, Hawaii is the only U.S. state that grows coffee commercially. The Kona coffee beans are renowned for their rich flavor, thanks to the volcanic soil. Another fascinating fact is that Hawaii has its own time zone, which means it doesn't observe daylight saving time. So, when the rest of the US springs forward or falls back, Hawaii stays the same. And let's not forget about the Hawaiian language. It has only 12 letters, yet it's rich in meaning. For example, the word aloha means both hello and goodbye, embodying the spirit of love and compassion. Finally, Hawaii is the only state that has a royal palace, Iolani Palace, which was home to the last reigning monarchs of the Hawaiian Kingdom. Each of these elements showcases the unique culture and history that makes Hawaii truly one of a kind. Alaska is a treasure trove of surprises. Did you know it's home to the northernmost city in the US, Barrow, where the sun doesn't set for 84 days in summer? Imagine living in perpetual daylight. Then there's the fact that Alaska is bigger than the next three largest states combined: Texas, California, and Montana. That's a lot of wilderness. Speaking of wilderness, it boasts more than 3 million lakes and over 12,000 rivers. And here's a fun fact: the state sport is dog mushing, a nod to its rich history of sled dog racing. Finally, Alaska has more than 100,000 glaciers, with the largest, Bering Glacier, stretching over 70 miles. It's a land of extremes and wonders, where nature reigns supreme. Did you know it's home to the only city in the US founded by a woman? New Orleans was established by French noblewoman Jean-Baptiste Le Moyne de Bienville, but it was actually his sister, Marie, who played a crucial role in its early days. And speaking of New Orleans, it's the birthplace of jazz, a genre that has shaped music worldwide. The city's vibrant culture is also reflected in its unique cuisine. Gumbo, jambalaya, and beignets are just the tip of the iceberg. Plus, Louisiana is the only state that has parishes instead of counties, a nod to its rich Catholic heritage. And let's not forget the mysterious bayous, where you can find the elusive alligator and stunning cypress trees. From its diverse history to its lively festivals, Louisiana is a place where every corner tells a story.